The other optional name. I like my regular name. Manifest. Okay.
Yes.
Sweet.
So, title of this conversation is Manifest, and we are joined by the lovely Pierce.
Ooh, I'm lovely.
So Abigail, you want to go ahead and go to the next slide? We can introduce him. So who is Pierce? Pierce is a musician, director, and Durham City Council Member. That's probably about the shortest bio I've ever been given. So Pierce, if you want to talk a little bit more, feel free.
Oh, you want me to tell you more? Okay. Let's see. Well, musician. I make beats and I rap. Um, I produce for myself and other artists. I also teach kids how to make beats. Um, and let's see. Yeah, this year. I put out my first children's music album, which was pretty cool. And we got some great press on Today's Show and NPR. My daughter was on the record, which was awesome. Um, yeah, as a director, I've worked on this animated series called History of White People in America. Um, it is just like it sounds. It's like kind of like Hamilton in that it's like American history, but the medium is animation. And we're talking specifically about the construction of whiteness and its legacies. So that it's not the first thing I've directed, but it's probably the one that I'm most well known for. And then I am also a member of Durham City Council. I'm a politician. I represent Ward 3 here in Durham. And yeah, how's that, Madison?
That's excellent. That's just what I was looking for.
Great. There you go.
Okay. So now we can go on to the next slide, which is where we're going to talk a little about the format of this conversation. So this conversation is going to be very interactive. Instead of us asking Pierce questions, he's going to ask us questions. The first step you guys have already done, hopefully, which is joining the Nearpod. If not, the link and the code are going to be in the Zoom chat. And then we'll use the Collaborate board feature, which is where Pierce will pose questions and you'll get to submit your response. And then once you submit a response, there will be all of the other responses on the board that you can and see as well. And then after that, if you have a follow-up question or comment, you can speak up, indicate that in the Zoom chat, and you can talk to Pierce about that. And then if he has a follow-up question about an answer that you put on the Collaborate board, he can ask you to unmute and ask you the question. Any questions about that format?
I have a question.
Yes.
So you already have my questions, right? Or do you want me to? Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So I don't have to say anything. Great. That was my question.
They're on the slides. And so it'll have a slide where people input their answers, and then the next slide will be the answer you provided.
Cool.
Yep.
I'm ready.
Awesome.
Y'all ready? All right, I see some head nods. Good. Let's get it.
All right, in the icebreaker, I know that you did not provide an answer, so you can just talk about this one right now while everyone's typing in their answer.
Oh, another world is possible if. Okay. Oh yeah. How about this? So there's a rapper named Immortal Technique, who's very political MC from New York, and he says, no one person can do everything, but everyone can do something. And I think when you're thinking about changing the world, sometimes these issues are really big. And so you just kind of got to do what's in your capacity to do. But with this icebreaker, I want you to really think deeply about, if you could wave a magic wand and change a system or a thing or a life or a historical moment or build a future one, what would that change be? What is that cosmic shifting thing that y'all would do? Another world is possible if ... Just finish the sentence. Pretty self-explanatory, but yeah, that was inspired by by a line from Immortal Technique.
Yeah, and then you can just read off the questions that are on the board.
Okay, let's see. Ooh. People come together. The world works together to build it. Nice. Oh, and there are hearts. You can heart things. That's nice. Everyone is accepted as is and not asked to change for others. I like that. Oh, this is great. Humans learn to have basic respect. Put some respect on my name. I love it. No double standards. Everyone was raised fairly without things that are race, gender, or even sexually specific. That would certainly be a different world than the one we live in. I see respect coming up a lot. We love and educate, collaborate and listen. Cooperation isn't political. Ha! People believe in science. Woo! This is great. No judgment. This is dope. Yeah, I see a lot of great reoccurring themes. We show the aliens that we are capable of taking care of the one we already have. Yo, those aliens, they are frowning upon us. Yeah, I have lots of feels and thoughts about what I'm reading. I don't know how much y'all want to hear from me, or if y'all want to expound on some of what you've shared. Um, is this just kind of like free flowing format wise?
Yeah, I mean, you can share a little bit about what you think, and if you have a particular question that you want to ask someone, feel
Mm,
free.
okay, cool. I like that. I like that. That's improvisational, and that really sits well with my discipline as an MC. Um, yeah, I really like this one. We show the aliens that we're capable of taking care of what we already have. I just think that on the cosmic scale, the likelihood of other life is highly probable, and you know, sometimes I think about that. What the aliens would think if they looked down on Earth. And I was talking, I forget who I was talking with the other day about money. Like money is a thing that we've created. We made it up. It's a piece of paper with a white dude's face on it. And, you know, we say you can eat or you can live here or you can have access to this on the basis of this figment of our imagination. Um, and I'm a really big fan of science fiction, and in the zombie apocalypse movies and the post-apocalyptic movies, money means nothing. It's the most useless item, uh, and what it really comes down to is resources, things, tools, um, and money kind of removes you from that. And some people's job is just to move money around, and they make money moving money around. It's just like it's the biggest probably social contract we have as a species that is probably the most irrational, in my opinion. One of the most. Race is up there. There's a lot of other things, but money is something that a lot of people don't really disagree on it, but it can literally be the difference between your surviving and not surviving. And if you could imagine, and some people are smart enough to do this, they can trick people into believing that they have money through whether it's an algorithm or counterfeit whatever, and you're like living good. Why? Because people have agreed that this thing has value. And I heard somebody once say like salt is more valuable than gold. And I just thought that was so fascinating because it's true. Gold is, I mean, there are some practical uses of metals, uh, and gold specifically is unique among metals and its pliability, but mostly, it's not like coltan. Like coltan is a metal that is in all of our phones and devices. You can have a smart device without it. Um, that's a precious metal. Gold, diamonds, like those things have value like money because we've decided that they do. And when I think about the scope of work ahead of us as far as equity is concerned, one of the most interesting domains for creating revolutionary change, I think, is around money, and it's with crypto. Like, cryptocurrency is just a wildly radical concept. And so I have a friend in Detroit. When I ran for mayor, I'm in city council now, but I used to be on my first bid for political office was running for mayor in 2017. And I had a friend in Detroit who was also running for mayor in Detroit. And her platform included this really interesting cryptocurrency uh, solution where the state kind of offers you know uh, a version of like a Bitcoin that can allow people to access healthcare and food and shelter and other things. And it's something that your virtual bank can regulate, and it can really help address some of these equity issues. And that type of radical thinking, it's so creative, it's so out of the box. But if you think about it, like, money is actually a really creative idea. And historically, whether you're in West Africa, currency used to be cowrie shells. They used to do gold dust and have a little scale and weigh how much the gold is. Like, there's been different systems throughout human history. It always hasn't been like paper with white people on it. In this country. That's relatively new. Coins have been around for a while, but paper money and now digital virtual money is kind of new. And so, with the advent of crypto, I think there's a really big opportunity to be transformative and equitable in how we distribute resources and tether value to something that's really just a figment of our imagination. So anyway, I didn't mean to get all sci-fi on y'all, but I would I just wanted to wax galactic a little bit on that particular idea. And I think when it comes to race, if you go watch history, white people, like, race, gender, though these things are also things that people made up. And there was a point 500 years ago where race was not a concept as we understand it today. People recognize difference in skin color, but the social tax that we associate with race in America in 2020 is a product of human creativity. It's a little like evil genius, if you ask me, but somebody came up with it. And if you think about that, somebody dreamed up race, somebody dreamed up gender as we understand it as a binary, somebody dreamed up money, then it's really kind of empowering, because what else can we dream up? Like, what other power do we have to create a different culture and society? And I think it's often the dreamers, the young folks, who are at the vanguard of social change because they're open to new ideas. So y'all are in very, very powerful positions to shape the world to be better than it is now. And I think that's your responsibility. And it's going to take a lot of creativity to manifest that. And so that's all I got. I would love to hear from y'all, but Madison, maybe you could lead me in how we can make
Yeah.
this more interactive.
Yeah. So I mean, just something with the cryptocurrency, that's something that I've learned about more recently. We had a conversation a couple months ago with Ethereum Foundation, looking for how to get them plugged in. But also what you said about creativity was so profound, because historically, humans are so creative, and that has been used both for bad and for good. And so that's like the challenge right now, is what we're really trying to tackle at CU, is to create um, really revolutionary and unconventional solutions to our world's problems. And so I love what you said there. And I mean, we can go ahead and get started in the conversation. And the way that we typically do it is, if you see a response that really makes you curious or leaves you with another question, you
Mm.
can just call out that response and ask that person to unmute so you can ask them a follow-up question.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. Um, well, who wrote the aliens question, and what made you take it there?
I did. I I was kind of thinking science fiction for a moment, and
Hmm.
I thought, well, if the aliens look down at us, they will be like, I don't want to visit there because they're just gonna kill our planet too. And yeah, that was all I was thinking about.
Yeah, I love that. Um, do you ever watch? Does anyone ever watch Star Trek? I know that's like probably super nerdy, but is anybody a fan? Okay, a couple folks. I see one. Cameron. Yeah. Okay, a couple hands. I think that dreaming about the future is really important. Gene Roddenberry, who created Star Trek, is someone who has answered this question for himself as a creator. Another world is possible if dot dot dot. And you know who else I would put in that category, like Harriet Tubman or Martin Luther King Jr. You know, people who lived in situations where, you know, there's systematic enslavement, and in order to create a different future, you have to be able to imagine it and then speak that mythical future into existence. And what you're doing and what we've done, we work together and respect each other. We collaborate and listen to each other. You know, people believe in science. You know, people could practice their religion without being discriminated against. Speaking things, you can speak things into existence. And it's not like it happens overnight, but I think if Harriet Tubman didn't speak like "Let's get free, I'm free," then there's no creating the change that she was so instrumental in participating in. You know, and the same can be said for any visionary in the history of you know, social movements. Um, so yeah, that's great. I
Yeah, and
think
if
we
you
can. I think yeah. You want to jump to the next question?
yeah, and so just like for all the questions, once you're ready to show your answer or go on to the next question, just let us know.
Yeah, I think that sets a good tone for the combo. And you know, on the next one, uh, I'll do less talking and more asking questions. But I know there's like 5 questions, so plenty of meat to sink our teeth into. Or if you're vegan, spinach. I was like, what's a vegetable? That took me a minute.
Or tofu.
Or tofu. Okay, in 100 years, this technology will be obsolete and this technology will be essential. Wow, I came up with some good questions.
I'm
Hmm.
curious, do you remember your answer?
My answer?
Yeah.
Huh. I answered these questions? I thought I just
Yeah.
wrote the
It's
questions.
on the next slide, so you'll find
Oh, I have no idea what my answers are. We talked like a month ago.
it. Yeah, I know.
I've had a whole Thanksgiving since then. Like, I don't remember what we talked about a month
Yeah,
ago.
that's okay. That's okay.
Huh. Flying cars. Huh, CDs. CDs are obsolete today, unfortunately for me. When my mom was making music, CDs were the business. Mm. Wow, these are some good answers. Landlines? I think landlines. There's a lot of stuff on here that's currently obsolete, like landlines and compact discs.
Well, I guess it's not wrong then. I mean,
You're right. Obsolete oil, essential water. Yeah. I see water, fuels, fossil fuels, water purifiers because humans waste a lot of water, air purifiers because of pollution too. Current cell phones will be obsolete. Look at how fast phones get replaced. Yes. Quantum computers. Nice. Gas cars. There's a lot about transportation. Cars, renewable energy, oil, fossil fuels, renewable energy. Wow. Like most of this is actually, let's say a good chunk of these are about power.
Pencils. That's interesting.
Pencils. I hope pencils don't go obsolete, but I guess we don't use a feathered quill dipped in ink
Yeah,
anymore.
true.
So
And
maybe
most people do their schoolwork on computers now, so
that's true. Food technologies. Ooh, alternatives to meat. See, my spinach reached someone. Virtual reality will definitely become big. Ooh, somebody talked to me about this implanted omnipurpose device. We've already started developing brain internet connections. Add the concept of NSA, and that's going to be scary. I would love to hear more about that.
Hi, so that was me. The reason why I used the words implanted omnipurpose device is because I wrote a short story on this. It's set in the future, of course, and people just have immediate brain to internet connections. And I was talking about how on the surface this is like an incredible idea where you can essentially debunk anything wrong being presented to you immediately by like juxtaposing it with whatever is going on in the internet that would be immediately presented to you. But then I added the perspective of like an NSA worker or someone in the CIA, where if you are like helping a government or a country, then you would want people to think like positively of the country, yes?
Sure.
So
propaganda.
They kind of, it's not that they were putting out fake news, it was that they were filtering what people could see. So I don't know, it's just an interesting concept.
That is very interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I see another one right next to that. There's biotechnology that is ingrained in our bodies, like microchips or brain implants instead of handheld devices. Kind of, I don't know. I find this line of thinking really interesting. Who wrote that? And what are your? Could you expound upon that? Whoever wrote that.
Oh wait, is it the one that says neural technology?
Biotechnology that is ingrained in our bodies, like microchips or brain implants.
Oh yeah, okay, that one's not mine.
Well, why don't you? I'd like to hear about yours as well. Did you hear something? Where's yours?
Mine is the third one.
Third one. PC tech will definitely be obsolete. Speak on that.
Yeah, so my one relates to the biotech one and the neural technology. So I'm studying to become a neurosurgeon, and we will definitely move away from the things that are disconnected from us. Like one example, it did fail, but one example of somewhat neural technology would be smart glasses, the Google glasses. I think we were just a little too early on that. That's why it failed. But we're already advancing in virtual reality. So it'll be, I think within the next 50 years, we will definitely move to a more, our brains kind of connected to the internet. And I know it sounds like science fiction, but almost everything that used to be science fiction came true. So
yeah, I'm waiting for molecular transporters. That's next on my wish list. That's interesting. Yeah, wow.
I think that the nanotechnology bit is really interesting because we have these phones that we hold in our hands and we look at them all day, and we're already so connected to like the internet and information and all that. So I really wouldn't be surprised if we just connected our brains to it, so we were more computers, because it's basically what we're doing now, except it would just be faster and more innate.
Yeah, and sometimes I think about how our bodies are already kind of machines and our brains already function as with, I don't know how many terabytes of storage there is in a human brain, but you can figure it out. And the ways in which science has embedded that technology in us biologically is really fascinating to me. Oh yeah, ask your question. I saw a question in the chat. Can I ask a question? Oh, am I seeing that late? Yeah, Ray, what's your question?
This is something I think about a lot, is that other than the materials used to make a consciousness, like for us, it's tissue and neurons. For computers, it's like, metal and plastic and gold. Beyond that difference in material, do you think that there is a difference that makes humans humans and like artificial intelligence artificial?
That's a great question. That's a question that's explored frequently in Star Trek, especially Next Generation. There's an android on board, and they discuss his sentience often. That's a deep question. I don't know is the answer to that. I think that the universe is really vast, and the information exchange at the microscopic level, with proteins and enzymes, it's very sophisticated. And we're just at the tip of the iceberg of being able to program that kind of thing. But then if you look at the leap in science, especially computer science over the past just 50 years, like imagine if humans don't destroy ourselves in the process, like what that could look like 500 years from now. I think I don't think that we'd be too far from creating sentient life, whatever that is, yeah, that's a really interesting question. And I love getting nerdy and just kind of spacing out and thinking about that kind of stuff. What is consciousness? What does it mean to be alive even? Because as humans, even we've designated ourselves as an elevated species relative to other beings on this planet. And, if you look at the science shows that we're quite similar to some of the animals that we imprison, enslave, and eat. When I think about back to the alien question, what would they think? Sometimes I think about that. They would probably think we're the oppressors of the world. We kill everything and eat it and enslave it and lock it up. And, the only people we play nice with are like the microbiomes that we're in a symbiotic relationship with, internally. So I don't know. That's a real interesting question. But yeah, that's interesting.
I think it's also really interesting to think about, like you're talking about the material of our brains versus metal. And it's kind of weird because like our brains are really just a lot of evolution that happened. And then machines are, because of that evolution, we have brains to figure out how to make them. So metal is kind of like our quickest way to make a brain, and we don't have to use evolution because we already have one to like go off of. So we could I think the jump between us going from metal to tissue would just be the matter of us figuring it out. And then, yeah, we could probably easily make one if we figured that out.
Another addition to that is that like humans are carbon-based life form, right? And me and my dad have a lot of really weird conversations that I didn't think would prepare me for this conversation as well. But we were talking about this yesterday about how carbon-based life form, at least like the reason why we're carbon-based is because carbon is really good at making like chains of itself. So, but there are a lot of other elements that can do that too. So it's completely possible that we can meet an entire alien species that's like silicon-based. Because silicon can make chains of itself too. So like, yeah, that's also an entire possibility. So we could just as well make a silicon brain. Like, that's something we could do.
Yeah, if I could add to that, I think I might slightly differ on this. So I remember watching a video about the difference between kind of knowing how our brain works and actually like how those mechanisms are transferred to like actual experiences. So I think it's definitely very important to know how our brain functions, but yet we still don't have that kind of final piece on how all, you know, this collection of light and different sound waves and all of that stuff gets turned into an experience, right? When you think about it, music is just a whole bunch of wavelengths moving around, but we're able to internalize that and think of it as a greater kind of thing. So I'm wondering, can we give life to something? Can we make something be able to experience? And so I think that's something we need to think about. I think that humans are more than just this kind of mechanical structure, right? We can know all about that, but I think we'll never really know what makes that and what, you know, gives us consciousness and the ability to experience. So I don't know that we'll ever have AI be able to do that either. And and even if they were able to, I don't know that we'd be able to test for that, right? So
wait, can I jump in on that? Okay, so gosh. So if we're all equating it to what exactly is living, but we have a new sentient, like, I can't even say creature, I'll just say consciousness. If we have a new sentient consciousness that is entirely inorganic material, will we continue to pose it against old parameters for what is living, or will we have to reshape our parameters and evolve them to include this new living thing that isn't technically living in terms of organic life?
It's a great question. And I would pose that same question even around sentience, around other beings that exist in our current, you know, environment and ecosystem. Like dolphins are hella smart, like fungi and mycelial networks really reflect brain patterns and neurons. And so, you know, when you touch a tree and you can see how they communicate with one another, or you look at a forest as an organism, as humans are also organisms of many beings working in collaboration with one another, you know, I don't know, how does consciousness emerge out of that? Is this, sometimes I think, does the planet have consciousness, or the solar system, you know, that fractal ways that the very smallest, most minute aspects of ourselves that we can observe, you know, they look like planets, they look like solar systems, they look like galaxies. It's just little balls with balls spinning around them. Like that's, are we a fragment of a larger consciousness? It's, who knows? That's, those questions are so vast. Oh, I saw somebody, my brain is going to explode. And, you know, so if I could, somebody brought in something about religion earlier, maybe it was on the previous question, about religious tolerance, another world is possible. If sometimes I think about, you know, in some translations of biblical texts, they talk about God being unfathomable, like so like incomprehensible by our minds. That's that's why my brain is going to explode. It's so accurate. It's like these concepts are so big, the vastness of the universe, even that concept, trying to fathom it. You know, if you counted to 1 billion right now, you'd be like 70 before you got there. It's like, it's so big, this world that we live in. And these concepts are so vast that they're difficult, literally impossible, difficult if not impossible to wrap your mind around. But I like trying. And I'm enjoying trying with y'all. Y'all are some brilliant folks.
Can I hop on? Douglas Adams, who wrote The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series, said, "A computer is blindingly stupid, but it's capable of being stupid many million times a second," which I think just kind of like shows us how different their learning system is, because we inherit like certain traits we know, like don't touch the hot stove or don't drown. But computers learn, they start in the dark and they just make mistakes over and over and over again until they learn. And I guess in answer to like Ray's question, if you have a completely different way of learning things, like we're gonna have to figure out, like, you know, are they alive even if their definition of living is different from us, if their definition of learning and ethical values are different from us.
Yo, Madison, I was gonna suggest after this comment, why don't we jump to the next question? Because I feel like that'll keep the ball rolling. All my questions are on some cosmic spacey stuff, if I recall correctly. But I'm sorry for interrupting.
Oh no.
Sorry, let me just say this real quick. It's okay if we don't get to all the questions.
Okay.
It's totally fine. This conversation can be it can be whatever it needs to be.
Okay. So you were saying?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry about that. So I was gonna add to that, the fact that we don't know about our cosmic role is like a core part of nihilism. And it's just, there's so much stuff that's uncertain, like, and actually it's confirmed that we can't grasp these things. Like we can't wrap our heads around how big the sun and comparatively small compared to some of the largest stars ever. So it's really weird in a way, and it brings up a lot of questions. Like I saw this video once that says we can't leave our little cluster that we have, and it's just kind of scary because we're so small, and sometimes existential thoughts, they can stray away from I guess in a way the main point of living. That's what I wanted to add.
Thank you. Ooh-wee. I'm enjoying this conversation so much. Let's jump to the next one. I'm ready to keep building. Nice. Television, solar. So, aligned with a lot of what y'all said. Ooh. If you're having a bad day, what is your self-care ritual? That seems completely unrelated to the cosmic conversation, but I'm excited to hear what the overlap in care is with our own concepts of being. Whew, that's deep.
Someone solves a math problem when they have a bad day. Man, I wish I was like that.
Yeah, that's me. I just like having something that I can control. So when I solve a problem and I get the right answer, then like know that like something's right, that answer will be the same answer today, tomorrow, yesterday. I don't know.
Wow.
I need this list like in my life. Wow. Crying and breathing. Going for a walk in the forest. Ooh, being with nature is always good. Or workout. Yes. Wow. Crying is showing up a lot. Drink, exercise, walk, listen, read, love, listen, practice, listen. Listen comes up a lot. Yo, this is like a survival toolkit. I love it. A good cry. Can someone, who did I walk to the ocean and think about how the Earth's processes proceed despite my problems? I like that one.
There's a Mary Oliver poem where she's like, I can't recite it, but she walks to the ocean and she tells it she's miserable, and the ocean responds, "Excuse me, I have work to do." And I just love that idea of like whatever problems you're facing or however bad you feel, just like looking at the world and being like, this isn't the end of everything.
Mm. Mm. Wow, I like that.
That's beautiful.
Can I add something to that? So I've noticed in the past, every time I have a bad day and I complain about something, every time my mother always tells me to appreciate the little things in life. And I think that whenever she says that, I start to realize just how, or like just how insignificant I am in the grand scheme of the universe. And I know like it's a very sobering thought. It's not something that you really want to hear when you're having a bad day. But I think just trying to consider the big picture, that is what I really look at whenever I'm having a bad day.
Mm. Madison, I have a quick logistical question. Is this list, are these thoughts going to be available to us after this call, or does it just disappear when we hang up?
Well, we'll have a recording to look through. I'm not sure if it will save on Nearpod.
Okay, I'm just going to take some screenshots if that's
Okay.
cool.
I think it does, but I'll double check.
Okay.
It does save. It saves.
Okay, great.
Okay, awesome.
This just feels like a such a dope resource. Like, does anybody, how about this? Here's my question for y'all. Does anybody see something on here that is not a part of their self-care ritual that they would like it to be?
I don't know if I'd like it to be, but verify a math proof. If I'm upset, I don't want to be anywhere near math.
I actually understand
That was me.
Like I actually understand that, because for me, I feel like math is like it's very tiring if you do it for long enough, but it keeps your brain like, it occupies just enough of like your mental space that you can only think about the math problem and nothing else. So it doesn't let you think about your problems, because in math 2 + 2 is 4, and it's never going to be anything else. It's just 4.
I see. So it's like very grounding.
Yeah, so it focuses your thoughts in a direction. Like you can do that in a lot of ways. Say songwriting, I used to do that a lot. Or like writing something in general. It just keeps your brain very focused on one thing, and you can't like turn your head away from it. So like, yeah, doesn't let you think about being sad, which helps.
And then the big thing with it is that a math proof will always be the same, and it will always be correct. And it's just, I guess it's just like you really get into the habit of really doing a specific math problem that it really takes your mind off of any of the hardships that you're facing in life. And yes, it is exceedingly grounding. You feel like you're there in the moment, and it's just a really comfortable thing for me.
Oof. I'd never considered that, and I'm totally putting that in my arsenal for self-care. Thank you for that gift. Wow.
Yeah, I think that's cool. I know that I don't consider myself as someone who's good at math, but the times when I did understand what I was doing, you really get in the flow state really easily. So I can definitely appreciate where you guys are coming from.
Math is healing. Ooh, I love that. And you know, oh yeah.
I think one thing to remember about math too is like you don't have to go find like, derivatives of like insane equations to be calm about doing math. You can also just like do division, like simple division in your head, like 56 divided by 3.5, and just like do that as well. And that's one thing to remember, is trying to chill out. You don't have to do something ridiculously hard, just something enough to be grounding.
I was gonna say, I see music coming up a lot, and I think of music, as math. It's it's an equation that you're listening to, and as a composer, especially in Western music, you know, I can see the equations that I'm hearing because I've studied the theory and, you know, math has theory as well. So I just thought that was an interesting correlation between the math combo.
Where is this list? I don't know where it is.
It's on the Nearpod. You should be able to see all the answers up on the board. Yeah. Oh, and then Pierce, I don't know how long you have if you want to stay for like a little bit longer after this conversation, because I know that we're only on the second question. I don't know, totally up to you.
I mean, I'm really enjoying this conversation, so I'm definitely down to stick around as long as people want to stick around. I had a question. Somebody said, do I have time for self-care in this economy? I thought that was an interesting question. Who wrote that question?
That was me. I spent all of Thanksgiving break working like 13 hours a day, which is not fun, not a good time. And I just feel like, we use "in this economy" as a meme, but it's actually a very real statement. Like, in this economy, if you want to get like a job, I feel like, you know, it's you don't have an option other than to just like work and work and work from a young age until you retire, which is progressively, you know, like maybe not an option for us. But I feel like as much as we try to do self-care and like do things that help us, it's not really going to be very effective unless we have like a cultural shift in how we view productivity and how we like put a value on a person. Like, someone's value shouldn't be how many hours they can sit at a desk and churn out stuff. It should be, you know, what innovation they could possibly bring or what connections they could bring to the table if they had the time to pursue that.
I think the key is making your pursuit of that your economic engine for, you know, sustainable like lifestyle. What do you think? Anybody else have thoughts on that?
Can I add something?
Yeah, please.
Okay, I think it's just so inherently like human how from like the time we're born we say, hey, you only have like value if you're productive. You know, you need to contribute to society in some way. So I need you to go work. But then we also are like, oh, people can't work if they don't feel good, if they're not taking care of themselves. So it's like, you know what, we're gonna sell self-care. You know, and we're gonna be like, yes, take care of yourself, you know, do your rituals, but then we're still gonna be like, I'll see you at work in 7 a.m. and I expect you to work 24 hours.
Yeah, if I wanted to add to that purely from like an economic thing, productivity isn't even a problem. I mean, you know, now that we have so many machines and so many factories, I mean, the rate of productivity is almost exponential. And I mean, think about how many people have spent, you know, hundreds and hundreds of hours at work just doing nothing and just sitting there in front of a blank screen. And it doesn't make a difference because the productivity we get from 1 hour of work is just insane now. So I think really it's all just in labor reform. I don't think we even have to think about productivity.
In addition to this whole like work related thing, somebody was talking about sapiens earlier in the chat, and again, me and my dad have very weird conversations. But
I gotta meet your dad.
He's great. Like, honestly, he's awesome. But like, he reads a chapter of Sapiens every night before bed, and then his brain explodes, and then he comes and talks about it. And he was talking about how basically our quality of life has gone down so much since like we were nomadic, because like what basically happened, we went from having an incredibly mixed palette with, you know, lots of like exercise, health, and like basically taking care of ourselves, plenty of time with family, etc., etc. But like the moment the agricultural revolution hit, we all started to, one, not really move around very much, to incredible amounts of labor going into like making food. And sure, like we're living longer now, but we have so many more health problems and things. And like you didn't really have to like stress about very much back then either. Now it's literally, if I mess up at work, I could lose my job. If I lose my job, I don't have money. If I don't have money, I don't have food. If I don't have food, then die. You know? So like it's a whole cycle of like, did our lives actually get better? Because what are we teaching people, right? It's study hard at school so you can get to a college where you can study hard and then get a good job where you can work hard so you can get money to get stuff like refrigerators, when basically we could just walk to the store every day, grab whatever food we need for the day, and come home. Like, you don't need a refrigerator necessarily. So yeah, I just, again, weirdly prepared for this conversation today, but you know, that's a very interesting thought to have.
Can I add to that? So like there have been like so many things in this conversation that I just want to jump at and like say something about, but like just like hearing what she had to say. Then also like somebody in the chat was talking about like how like when you're sleepy, it's almost like similar to the effects of being intoxicated and everything. And it reminded me of like this exercise that I did in a philosophy class where like we learned about like human rights, and we basically like had to rank them in what we thought people needed the most. And when I saw that like leisure time and vacation time were like on the list for like these 14 human rights, I was shocked. I didn't actually know that that was a human right. And so I felt like I'd basically been brainwashed into thinking that these are things that I don't need. And like when I think about countries like Japan, which they were like mentioning in the comments, like that country is like actually their population is diminishing because the workforce is so important that people are more invested in work than like starting families. And I mean, like, yeah, you should have a choice in if you want to start a family or not, but like there's not enough people to replace old people. And so like their population is shrinking because work is so important to them. And I just thought that was so crazy.
Yeah. I think about, you know, Jess, when you started kind of talking about, you know, in this economy and the nature of work, which is where our conversation has gone, it's a lot of it comes down to control. You know, these are figments of our imagination, like money, which are about controlling human beings. And what is time anyway? Like, it was so funny in the Black community, we have this thing. It's called Black people time or colored people time. Like it's that fact that we're late to things. Sometimes we're late, okay? I'm saying this in mixed company, not because I want to raise up a stereotype. I'm letting you into a personal family conversation for all my African American and Black folks who are on the call. Hate to throw us under the bus, but that's the thing, right? And when I went to India for the first time, and my buddy that I was with, Salim, was like, "Oh man, we're on Indian time." Like, and I was like, "Oh, y'all got Indian time too?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, we got Black people time. We're all late." And then I've traveled all around the world. Almost everywhere in the world, they have a concept of being late, and they call it like their version of time. And there are so many more people of color in this world, and I began thinking like, what if what we're calling, you know, Indian time or colored people time is actually just regular time, which is fluid and kind of depends on how my day is going. I show up when I get there. Like, what if that's regular time? And this other version of time where you need to show up at that's like an aberration. That's like a strange, like white people time, for lack of a better term, you know, because I don't know of any groups that identify as white that tether their identity to being late. So that, you know, the inverse of a people of color time would be like a white time. And that time, if you think about that, particularly in the context of white supremacy, then that time becomes oppressive, because if you show up late for that thing, you're in trouble. If you show up late for that appointment or that meeting, there are consequences that are related to the systems of production and the mechanisms of control that are really designed to oppress people. Like, Jess, when you said, do I have time for self-care? That question, it makes me think about oppression, because if you don't have time for self-care and you're so focused on surviving, because the alternative is, so dire that you wouldn't even care for yourself. That sounds like oppression. And I just wonder, why we opt into these systems that are so harmful. And we have some self-determination there to create something different, which goes back to the to the original question. Anyway, that's interesting. Y'all want to move on to the next question? Let's do it. When I'm having a bad day, what is my self-care ritual? One word: breathe. That's deep. Let's agree to tell 3 people we love them today. Who are you telling and why? What question is this question for?
This is 3.
My questions are
Again,
good.
we don't have to get through all of them. Maybe we can just have you come and speak again sometime in the future.
I like that. Myself, my mom, my sister. My 3 squirrels. Let's go. Squirrely, Tails, and Rusty. Wow, a lot of dogs, pets, animals. I love all the myself. Yes, snaps. My parents, grandma, because she has Alzheimer's, and I never know when the last time she will remember me is going to be. And my best friend, because she is an amazing human. That's beautiful. Yes. I love it. So, and when are we supposed to end, Madison? When were we scheduled to
3
end?
minutes ago.
Okay, cool. So here's what I want to do with this question. I'm kind of curious to see what my final 2 questions are. I don't remember what they are, but let me say this. Instead of talking about this particular question, I'm going to ask everybody to do the thing. Do the thing. Go tell 3 people that you love them. If not today, give yourself 24 hours. You can write a letter, text, phone call. 3 people. Can we all agree to that? All right. And if you can't think of who the 3, look at the list and get some ideas. All right. What's the next question? Family member, friend, someone I haven't spoken to in a while. Cool. I'll do it too. Ha! Dogs or cats? Dogs and cats, dogs and cats. Squirrels, I should have known. Kittens, dogs. Wow, dogs are really deep on this list. Flamingo, let's go. All of them, koalas. Okay, cats are making a little comeback. I agree, cats are super elegant. Humans. Oh, definitely not humans. Oh, that's funny. Oh, this is fun. Lizards, ferrets. Squirrels are on here like 3 times. So for all the squirrel lovers, there's a great comic book called what is her name? Squirrel Girl. But it's like incredible. I guess it just goes by Squirrel Girl. The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. Incredible Squirrel Girl. Anyway, she's awesome. One of my favorite comic book characters and powers. That's great. Oh, these are really sweet. Okay, great. That was fun. Dogs or cats or some other creature. All right, let's go to the last question. That was a nice breathalyzer. Great. I'm a cat person. There it is. I believe they're elegant. Ooh, see, this is why I knew I had something good at the end. Finish the sentence. I will manifest blank in my life. Change, happiness, self-love, dignity. Happiness in my definition of success, self-love, happiness, empathy, change. Love it, love it. Wow, here's another one that I need to just take a picture of.
Whoever said 2 more inches of height as a 5 foot tall person, I completely respect that and I feel you. You are valid.
Let's go. I love that. Let's continue with that. I don't want to solicit questions. If anybody wants to speak on something that they've shared here, let's just end on this note. We're going to manifest some dope stuff.
Yeah, I said dignity, just for mine, because I think it's really important that you're able to be yourself and that you're able to present yourself how you want to, how you want others to think of you. And I think there's just a very important part of life of just being yourself and being proud of that.
Yeah, to add on to Ramon said, I would say self-respect and self-love, because especially in like this age of time when there's like so many things you can see on social media, and oftentimes we can like reflect that back on ourselves. And so I just said self-love and self-respect because there's just so much lack of that, and we can obviously tell there's so much lack of that because of like our mental health. And when there's a lack of self-respect and love for ourselves, we can often put that on other people. And if we don't have that we don't have that love and respect for ourselves, then it's so hard to give to other people and to give it to the people we care about, and to and even our kids in the future.
I feel that it's important to go in and just use your life to help others, because there's just so many people. There's so many problems, and there's so many people and animals too that just need help. And I think that is just as important to spend your life on as helping yourself.
I believe that with our limited time, we should live our life to the fullest and also contribute to the world, because we are all here for a reason, and it's just really important that we know our worth.
Yeah.
I said happiness and my definition of success, because whenever I say success, people is like, oh, so you want this job, oh, you want to work this many hours, oh, you want this amount of money. And it's like, success to me is like, I wake up in the morning and I'm glad I woke up. And it's like, I'm happy with what my like life is going. I'm happy with the things I'm going to be able to do today, with the people I'm going to see. It's not necessarily, I'm happy with the things I might get to buy with the money I have, or the like prestige of any job I might have. It's literally just me waking up and I'm glad I woke up, because I'm glad to be on earth and to do the things that I can do.
I said empathy because if we don't take the time to understand where other people are coming from, we might make quick assumptions about their ideas. Like you never know what people are going home to at night. So until you ask them, or at least look at their social cues and see how they're reacting and what they're doing, you can make wrong assumptions really quickly and escalate a situation.
Yeah, to add on to what she said, like that's why respect, or like mutual respect, especially during times like this, is so important, because like we're all just living in our own heads, and majority of the time we have no idea who's going through what, or who's going through what, or who's dealing with what. So it's just so important to respect each other, because some person could be on like literally at their breaking point, having a terrible trash day, and so it's just so important to be nice to not yeah, be nice to everyone, respect everyone, put that positive energy out there, the one you would want to receive if you're having a bad day or good day.
Yes. Yes. Stella, you want to come say hi? Okay. My daughter just came in because she's ready for me to get off the computer. It's just some students. They're cool. Come say hi. You don't want to? She says fine. She's putting her hair in a ponytail. She don't want to, what I mean? She's got to be presentable. So Stella, maybe you could end us off. I've asked these students to finish this sentence, and I want you to have the last word. Is that cool?
Yeah, okay.
So come around. So the sentence is, I will manifest blank in my life.
I'm supposed to say this?
Yeah. And so these are everyone's answers. Change, happiness, self-love, dignity, empathy, happiness.
And I can choose one of them?
No. You can say your own. These were their answers.
Oh.
And now you don't have to type it. They can hear you. So you can say what you would like to manifest in your life. What would you like to manifest?
Peace.
Peace. On that note, peace. I love that.
And that was your answer too.
Was that my answer?
Yes, it was.
Hold on. Watch the next sheet. Can you pull it over? She said that was my answer. Oh, you can't hear anyone because you don't have headphones. Oh. I will manifest peace in my life. Wow, that's funny. I had no idea that was my answer too, Stella. Aren't we similar?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, well, look, y'all, I had so much fun building with you today, and just really appreciate the opportunity to chat. But I'm a dad, and Stella's been poking her head through the door like, are you done yet? And so I think if I want to have true peace in my life, and I don't want to have an angry daughter before bedtime, I should do the right thing and go be a parent. But thank you for organizing this, Madison, and for all of these wonderful people who participated in the combo.
Yeah, I think that was a great ending, like daughter, like father, as the saying goes. And thank you guys so much for coming and participating. Like I told you, Pierce, this was our first event with the 2021 fellows. And so I am just as delighted as you are to get to meet them all for the first time. And I'm so excited because our fellowship doesn't even start until February. Wow. So we have a long time to connect with these fellows. And so I'm just super excited. So thank you everyone for coming and just taking the time out tonight. It was a great conversation. So good.
Madison, I just have another quick question. I mean, I found, especially the last one, what are we going to manifest, in a couple earlier, self-care. I would love to have access to this conversation so that I can write some of those things down. Like,
yeah,
you missed it. I asked them what their self-care ritual was, and some people said like doing math problems. Yeah, I mean, it's just really interesting hearing what other people do to take care of themselves. But we're gonna try that one day. If we ever have a something we need to. Anyway, I would like to have access to that.
Yes.
So if you could follow up with an email with the link, I would appreciate it.
I will definitely do that. Yeah.
Cool. All right, y'all. Yo, follow me on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or whatever. I would love to stay in contact on the socials. And it's just, you see my name here, Pierce Freelon. It's just at Pierce Freelon. That's all my stuff. So I would love to, to stay connected. And if you ever need anything, if you're ever interested in getting into politics or making films or writing music, I would be happy to share what information and resources I have with y'all. Yeah, so let me know.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you guys so much.